Welcome back to Round 1, the show where we play just the beginning of a game to kind of give you a taste for how the game is going to be played, let you see some actual gameplay. I'm joined with Emily today. We're going to play through Vital Lacerda's newest game. It's called Inventions, Evolution of Ideas.
Yes, and we are going to be evolving some ideas in this
mouthful.
game today.
And this is a big game, maybe one of the biggest games that we've ever done in a Round 1, so we literally are just going to do the first round of the game.
Yes.
In fact, we actually already did the setup phase. This game starts with a whole Stone Age, which is kind of seeding the board. You draft a bunch of stuff, you put a bunch of stuff out on the board, and you take one action to start with. So we've already kind of done that. And of course, as we play the game, we're going to talk more in depth about what we're doing, how these actions play out. But I do want to talk a little bit about the theme of the game. If you couldn't tell from the name, we are inventing things,
Yes.
like Emily said, and we are kind of evolving those ideas over time, trying to collect some idea cards, trying to gain some milestone tiles, and in general, just score victory points in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, we basically have a civilization, right, that we're evolving over time through the ideas and through the way we're inventing ideas through the map of the world. So the main way we're doing it, right, is the main 4 actions, which we'll talk about in more detail as we do them. But generally speaking, we have some ideas that we present out to the board. We can then show an idea, and then we can innovate on the idea, and then we can share that invention with the world.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot. It is a multi-step process, and there is a little bit of working together. And that is why in a 2-player game, which is what Emily and I are doing right now, there actually is kind of an AI bot, Kronos, who controls the timeline. Is actually going to be presented on the board. It's a very simple AI, so we're going to show you guys how that works in a 2-player game. It basically just keeps the game flowing because, like we said, we all are kind of working together. It is a multiple-step process to get an idea out there, to share your idea with the world. Now, this right here is really what you care about. This is the assembly. This is where you're going to be placing your pillars in order to take actions. And you'll notice that there are 5 potential forums here, and these brown lines kind of divide into forums. This is very interesting, and you have to pay attention to this because if you take an action on either side of the forum, you cannot come back and take the other action. You really have to plan ahead.
Yes, like all of his worker placement games, right? You're very much so planning ahead. Timing is a huge thing here too, as well as since we're playing a 2-player game, if we ever go to a spot that's our opponent has gone to, we will get an influence, or our opponent will get an influence.
Incredibly important too. So yeah, you want to try to kind of predict where your opponents might go and get there first so that they have to come to where your pillar is and get points. Normally, you only do that for your epoch pillars. In a 2-player game, we're going to do that with our season pillars. That's in the rules. I don't want to hear a comment. Somebody's going to say only your epoch pillars gain influence, and that is normally correct, or gain reputation. Normally correct, but there are a few small 2-player rules, including this, including how many tiles go out in some of the stacks and stuff like that. So we did already start the game. We did our draft. We started with a few inventions already invented. We start with a few ideas that we have. We start with a milestone that we've already learned. And we start with some figures out on the board and things like that. So we did all this during that preceding phase, and then we each took one action.
Do we want to go through? Yeah, so I went
through
first. So my first action was that I was going to call a diplomat, or send out a diplomat. So what I did is I got to take someone from my supply and put him out onto the copper smelting.
So now you know copper smelting.
So now I know copper smelting, which is great.
That'll be important in a minute.
I already knew agriculture as part of setup, and now I also know copper smelting. So if something out here needs copper smelting in order to be invented, I can do that. Plus, by doing it, it got me an additional worker in the technology track. So I have an additional thinker to use, which will be helpful later.
And I was not satisfied with the milestone I started with. I started with mining, but I decided to take the new milestone action. I've learned sailing, so now I know sailing, but that means that I kind of gave the world mining. Now this matters because a lot of these ideas are going to have prerequisites. You can't invent an idea, turn an idea into an actual invention if you don't have the prerequisites. So some of these are going to require specifically named technologies or milestones that you have over here. Anything that's in the leftmost category, and you'll notice that we start with a bunch of A's and then the one B that I just added. All of these are available to everyone. The world knows these things.
Common knowledge. Everybody
knowledge
knows about
is
how to do transportation, speaking.
So as we play, and this is abstracted based on a civilization style, I would never really like actually call it a civilization game, but that is kind of what you're doing here.
It's the theme, but it's not a Civ game.
Right, it's the theme of civilization. And you're going to see how on this world map, how scholars kind of spread out across this world map, gaining new ideas and kind of spreading out knowledge. So it is a very interesting theme, and I do think mechanically it works pretty well. Some people have asked if the theme is just pasted on. I think it works pretty well.
Yeah, I think it was definitely integrated in what you're actually doing. Well, like even when you took sailing, so then the next thing you did, right, is it got to move you forward in time. So you have the most advanced civilization.
I do. I invented sailing before anyone else.
Look at him go.
Here. So we did all of that. That was the Stone Age, and then we move on to the actual gameplay. In the game, you're going to take 3 actions per round. So we're going to do 3 actions here on camera. You're going to place 2 seasonal pillars, and then you're going to move your big epoch pillar. And this matters because, again, you're blocking yourself. And the last thing you're going to do is move this, and wherever you move it to, you're not going to be able to take those actions next round. So you have to really think about that. There is a player order here. Every time we get to the AI's turn, every time we get to Kronos' turn, he's going to do something on the board, but we're going to get to do our actions first. And again, we're choosing any of these actions, and we kind of have them broken up a little bit. These actions all have to do with creating an idea. These actions are going to be moving you around the board, and these actions over here are going to be interacting with this milestone display. What I love about this game, and what you'll notice very quickly, is that every action you take is broken down.
Yes,
every
step by step.
Every single step to that is going to be broken down. Now, we haven't really talked about our player boards. We won't until we get there. But for now, let's just jump right in, and Emily, you can take your very first action.
Let's do it. All right, so we already have some ideas on the board, so I want to just get to, the name of the game is Inventions, right? I want to try to invent something.
All right.
So to do that, I have to pick something where I have the milestone already, and I can choose this wheel where I already have somebody. It's going to take transportation. Transportation is part of the common knowledge.
Yep,
so I can do it. And so when I do that, I'm going to actually get a brown token. So these are progress tiles, right?
Yep.
These tiles are going to be great for points later on in the game. And there's using this system where while I take my turn, I can just put it with the brown on top so I know what I'm going to take. And then later in my turn, I can actually choose which one I want out of many, many different options.
Yeah, that's true. There are a ton of progress tiles. There's even a player aid that kind of just shows you what all of your options are. And they actually recommend in the rule book, just do all that, choose your tiles while it's the other player's turn, because you're going to be flipping through, you're going to be reading all these, trying to figure out which tiles you want to take. It's cool that they included these reminder tiles.
It's very cool because then now I know, okay, at the end of my turn, I'm going to do all these things. I don't have to interrupt my turn to be like, oh yeah, and now what do I want?
Right,
oh yeah, and then where was I in the thing? So I get to keep taking my turn. Part of it, inventing this idea, is that I need to put out one of my brown specialists, so I need to put a thinker here. And this one, it cost me an additional one that has to be exhausted as well. So he just goes from his home down to the bottom space, so he's exhausted right now. He won't come back until the next era.
See, I see that planning. Normally you only start with one specialist in each one of these, but during setup and during our Stone Age action, she got a second one.
And so that is why I wanted to do that copper smelting so that I got my additional guy. Now that it's invented, it's going to be flipped over, so he could be innovated on.
He could be innovated on.
If somebody wants to do that.
I could just invent my own idea, but honestly, innovating that idea seems pretty juicy.
So that's my main part of my action. And then, like I said, I'm going to take the second part of my action and I'm going to decide which of the brown things I want. So I'm going to look through all the different options that I have and say, Ryan, I want the number 2, the design one.
Oh yeah, now I've got this stack off camera because it is a giant stack. You're going to have in a 2-player game only 2 of each of these. So the fact that Emily took this one means there's only one left. However, the Kronos player can remove those from the game as well. So that can happen.
Yes.
All right, so that was your first actual action of the game. I'm going to take my first action. I think I am going to innovate that idea.
Did I tempt you into it?
Well, there's 2 reasons why. You did kind of tempt me into it, but I always like to innovate for 2 reasons. First of all, when you innovate, the first thing you do is have to put one of your people out, one of your specialists
of the same type.
But whenever you do that, you get one that replaces it.
Yeah.
So as long as you have one, you end up with one anyway. So you're not really losing out on doing that. And you get to potentially do the chain action. Now, let's talk about chaining, because this is something that you see in some of Lucida's games. He gives you like executive actions that you can take. there's a bunch of spaces on the board that have pink actions that will let you spend your chains. You can get more chains based on how high you are up on this reputation track, but Emily and I each get one chain. So I can actually take a chain action, and it tells me I'm limited. The only chain action I can take here is the chain action printed on that card, right next to the guy I just put out. Now, in some of Lister's other games, you have a whole list of actions. This is not that. You have to like go to a specific space or take a specific action to do that specific chain. But I'm going to.
Yeah, and so you're going to find little ways to make these chains, right? So you have to both have a chain available and have a thing that's going to give you a chain. And when you do it, you're going to literally put it on that. So what I like about this too is that like when you go back and look through your turn, you can literally map out what did I do or did I do something right? Because you can be like, oh, and then I did this and then I went there because you have those chain actions.
So I'm going to do it. Now this is neat too because now I get to do this action right here, which is send out a diplomat. And I get to do it to any of these milestones except the one I already have a diplomat on. So I can send a diplomat out to any one of these 8 tiles and take the diplomat action that's printed there.
What's interesting too about you doing it as a chain action is because you took it as a chain action and not as your main action, you normally if you went there, since my guy's already there, you would have given me an influence.
That's true. I'm going to go to Stone and Bone Tools. Even though this is public knowledge, we can still send our diplomats over there to kind of talk to them. I want this action. Let's take a tile of any type, and I want to take a blue tile. And I know I want to take a blue tile because there's a blue tile that I love that I try to take every single game. So I'm going to cash this in for the 3 blue tile, and this one is one that's going to let me gain more blue tiles over the course of the game. However, I can't play this tile right now. So I would love to get this actually out on my board. And you see the board here. These hexes kind of represent your civilization. And you're going to be able to put these progress tiles out on your civilization board and gain their benefits later. But it costs reputation. And you'll see here, I have 1 tile. It costs me 3 reputation. I have 2. I'm not doing that. And even if I did, I don't know if I'd want to spend it all. But the more of these tiles you get, the cheaper it is actually to put those tiles out. And ultimately, if you fill up all 4, if you wait long enough, you can do it with 0 reputation.
Exactly, but you can only have 4 at a time. So once you have those, you really start want to put them out. Plus, when you put them out, there is still cost as far as what it costs for specialists to do it. Yeah. It's kind of hard to do a lot of them at once. But you do want to kind of start building these up through taking these different actions and getting a place to put them. So eventually we're scoring them and using these juicier powers.
And I'm sure within the first round, one of us is going to put some out. And if not, we'll talk about it, but I'll wait until we actually do it. So
we're trying to.
You did your action, I did my main action, and I did my follow action. So we are both completely done with the first action. However, we do have Kronos who goes after us. And he follows a very particular AI pattern.
Yeah, so what he's going to do is he's always going to go to the region of the next number. So he's in region 5, he's going to go to region 6, and then he's going to try to invent an idea, or he's going to present an idea, and then invent, and then share, and then innovate.
So there's a list of steps that he checks for. Now, he came to an area of the world, North America here, and nobody in North America has any ideas.
Not yet.
Not yet. He had to come, and he's like, I'm going to bring some ideas to North America. Whenever he comes to a spot that doesn't have an idea, that's the first thing he does. So he'll look at the display over here that we can normally draft from, and he'll choose the rightmost, which, spoiler alert, is sailing.
And that, you have sailing.
I did kind of see that coming.
Yes.
And these are going to slide down, and we're going to get a new one. So I did kind of see that coming, which isn't bad. And then anytime he does, we've got a whole set of scholars from his supply, and he'll put one there as well, almost as if he was taking the action. He doesn't
actually get the action, but he just claims it now.
And it's important because these are going to be coming out on the board, and it could interfere with some of our objectives to have control of specific areas.
Exactly.
So this guy will eventually come into the North America area. So he's done. We finished the first action of the first round, and then this marker, which I will tell you is going to be a cool Kronos mini when this game finally comes out. We don't have that yet, so we're just using a marker to track time. But we're on the second one, and this one is also a season pillar. So let's go ahead and place another season pillar out.
All right, so for my second one, I think I want to, we already have this, and we have an idea presented, innovated. I feel like we may as well.
I can present it if you don't want to.
No, I'm going to present it.
I do want that tile.
I'm going to share it with the world, Ryan. When we do this, though, we all get something. Everybody who's worked on this gets a little bit of something.
I know, but I wanted the bonus for doing the action.
Well, I'm doing it. So First of all, the person who presented the idea in the first place, which was me in this case, is going to get points. So we're going to get innovation points based on this number, so the era, so 2 times however many specialists I have.
Which is just 2. And you'll notice that we already have some points. We got some points during setup. Some of the decisions we made gave us points to start with.
And then this guy is going to go out into the region that he's connected to, and he is out there in the world sharing this new thing.
Yep.
Then whoever actually made the invention is going to get this invention, and it's going to be on the left side of my board.
Yeah, and that's good for you, actually, because I didn't even look at the color. The color of these different inventions represents the different, facets of your civilization. It also makes those tiles cheaper.
Yes, exactly. So
not reputation, but worker.
Yes,
cheaper.
for specialists, cheaper. Yeah. So this is going to be something that's going to help me later on because I have these brown things that I'm trying to put out on my board.
As soon as you get I'm sure you'll get some more of those tiles.
And then this guy, again, is going to go out into the world. We also get the person who innovated it.
Yeah, so he goes out too, and the bonus for innovating is like people are like, oh, you're so innovative. We want to come join your school of thought. You get another citizen out in the world. And this is kind of the ebb and flow. So that's good for me. I took that innovate because I kind of figured you were going to share it out. When I get an extra guy out there, eventually I'll be able to take an action to return these workers to my worker pool as scholars or specialists, depending on how you get them. And that's kind of how you grow the number of specialists you have to spend.
Yes.
So you need to you're attracting people to your school of thought out in the world, and then you're sending them back to your civilization to come actually
help
contribute to that civilization.
Exactly.
And these are really important. Like Emily said, you have to spend these to put out some of these tiles. And if you ever want to get to a situation where you're putting out multiple tiles in one turn, you need a ton of specialists to be able to do that.
Exactly. So, and then the last thing, because I shared it with the world, I also get something. I'm going to get this progress token, which is a wealth one. Each one of the regions has their own specific one. This one is going to score me extra points at the end if it's on my board and it's connected to those white progress tiles. So now I might be starting to go look for those ones as well. The really cool thing about these ones, though, is that you can only have one of each different type. So later in the game, I'm probably not going to really care about sharing something from this region because I already have the progress tile. If I were to do it again, though, I would just get to take one of the other progress tiles as basically a bonus.
All right. So
that's the end of my turn.
Your turn. So it's my
I'm not going to put them out yet. I still waiting to build them up.
So I do have sailing, but I can't. I can't take that action.
So that's where that happens. So then maybe what he's thinking is there a way you can chain it, right? Is there something else on the board that gives you the ability to invent or to present?
That's what I'm looking for. Now, unfortunately for me, I could move, but I also blocked move. So I can't move either. So I've gotten myself into a little bit of a tight spot here.
Well, you could also bring somebody home, and that'll allow you to move as well.
I will, but this is the action I want to take. So I'm going to have to just take a completely different action. I don't think there's any way that I can present or invent that idea right now, even though I do have sailing. I wish I had thought ahead. That really hurts. There is one over here, iron. Iron would give me that. If you wanted to come over here and
take it for you and really help you out, buddy.
You could absolutely do that. I wouldn't say no. I wouldn't say no to that. So I am going to do this action. I don't want to present an idea out here. I could present one of these mining ideas out. Let's see. I get one. Ooh, actually, I could do that and get one reputation. But the reason I'm kind of thinking so hard about this is, again, coming back to our goal cards, one of our goal cards wants our people on the board to be in specific spheres of the world. So I'm trying to set up in such a way that I can complete this card.
I got it.
What?
I'm gonna help you. So
no, you're not.
Don't forget about the chain actions, right?
I haven't.
So and remember we just put all these guys out here.
Yeah.
What if you did that?
And called them back?
Called them back. And then you could chain action and you
I could use bread. I do have bread. Look, I hadn't even looked down here yet.
I know, there's so much.
You don't have to help me.
There's so much going on in this game, though. There's all these different ways you can put it together.
Well, that's funny because I was actually thinking about doing this. I was debating between this action and this action. Pulling people back to my board because I want more people back there. Both of these actions are going to do it. This action is going to do it and give me a blue tile. So that's actually probably something that I should have looked at earlier. And I'm not going to be doing this action in the first round.
Yeah, that's
quite
really
yet. We'll talk about this, but we're not going to do it right now. So I am doing this action, returning my people home. First of all, I get a blue tile. So I get this which means now it's only cost me 2. Still
Making
don't
it
want
cheaper and cheaper.
They are making it cheaper, not quite cheap enough. And then I return my people home, and they go back to the color of the area of the world that they're linked to. So I'm going to bring these guys back. They go, uh-oh, no card. So I get to look over here at the rightmost card, and that just dictates where they come back. They come back as the white specialists. So they'll be right there.
Little artists.
Artisans, I think, is what the white ones are called. So I did that, and then, yes, I get to chain one of my 2 cards. So I could either send a diplomat out, or I could invent an idea. Look at that. Got there. I'll tell you, I love that about this game. We got to play this a few months ago. We actually did it just played. So like it's bringing back all those feelings. Let's put that there. And that's going to need a blue. I do have a blue. It's only going to need 1 blue.
Nice.
But first of all, let's go down this line. So I have the prerequisite, which is sailing. And I get a brown, so I'm going to remind myself.
So you've gotten 2 progress tiles.
Now it's getting kind of juicy here.
This is good.
It's good for me. I know you just get excited when people do good things.
I know, it's huge things.
I love that you can't even help it. You're like, I've solved it. I solved the puzzle. I'm going to tell you.
Because this whole game is like that. It's like a puzzle where we're all trying to move our civilizations.
I'm going to flip this one over. So a lighthouse. That makes sense. You don't have a use for a lighthouse until somebody invents sailing.
Yeah.
So that's there. Look, there's another way now. If you wanted to innovate that, you could create another or invent another idea.
Interesting.
Flipped it. Put my guy down. That's it. So I have a blue and a brown. So while you take your turn, I'm just going to kind of decide. Well, not your turn. We have to do his turn. So let's do his turn first. Kronos. He's just going to move again. He always moves at the start of his turn.
Yes. So he's going to move from 6 to 7. So now he's in Africa. Africa also has no ideas. Or sorry, South America. South America. Africa does have ideas. I'm sorry.
Know
South
your
America.
geography.
I know. It doesn't have any ideas. He's going to take the rightmost one.
Which is, what is this one? Musical notation. Oh,
that's exciting.
I can't believe that you thought Africa was below North America.
Yeah, it was because I was just looking at the wrong region.
I'm just kidding. We all make mistakes.
2 of his specialists to come out here because he's presenting this
I like
idea.
This. So this kind of simulates what the other 2 players at the table might be doing.
Right.
Is in putting out ideas, and that allows us to come invent these ideas and innovate these ideas. So it's pretty good to have that extra help.
Yeah, without Cronus, it would be a little bit difficult because it's such a big board and such a big space that it would be kind of like, okay, we have to work double time to actually get something done. Cronus is just kind of helping us a little bit.
Just moves around the world, spreading ideas everywhere he goes. It's fine.
Yes.
I was a little worried. Anytime I hear that a game has a 2-player variant, I'm like, is it going to be good at 2 players? But this is so easy to use, and it just keeps the game going, so you don't get like stagnant in a 2-player game.
Yes.
But now it's back to you.
Now it's back to me.
So this is the 3rd action of the round, moving your epoch. So you're actually going to get to move your epoch pillar. Again, you can't move it where it already is, and you can't move it to where you have these. So you really have, it does kind of limit.
Options.
So you really have to plan because you're going to get to this point. Every era, we're going to get to this point. You're going to go, well, shoot.
Well, shoot.
So,
but I think I
choose my tiles.
I think I do know what I want to do. I am going to go from here, and I'm going to travel. So I've got some people already out into the world, right? And so now they can travel and start disseminating that knowledge.
Yeah, don't forget your white tile, though.
First, I need to get a white tile, so I'll do a little reminder there.
Yep.
I also have 3 tiles, so I'm feeling pretty good. Probably going to try to put some out. Then I get to actually move one of my guys. So I'm going to move him from region 3 to region 2. There's a
following those lines.
Following those blue lines. And since there's a sage there, I can use one of my chain actions to do the chain thing that he has there. So I'm going to put my chain out. I'm going to get 2 workers for any of the different types of specialists.
Oh, yeah. Where are you going to put them?
I think I'm going to put, I'm going to get a thinker. Actually, I'm just going to get 2 thinkers. I have a lot of stuff.
Yeah, you do have a lot
with technology.
You do have a lot of technology cards, a lot of brown cards. Oh my gosh.
Yes, and that might be good for some things that I'm holding on to. So I think the technology, the thinkers.
Technology goal might be brown.
Who knows? Who knows?
All right.
So I'm going to do that. When it happens, I get to flip this over, and now the next person who comes, and I get to take this sage. Yep. The sage is great because he's going to help me get scholars. But also later on, when the sage comes back, if someone takes this action again, it's a little bit like Concordia
little
style,
bit,
right?
yeah.
Where like they're gonna get 2 points, but they're also gonna get 2 points for any of the other ones that are on that flipped side.
Yeah, and then they're all going to flip back over. So it's kind of a push your luck because somebody's going to do it. When it gets up to like 6 or 8 points, you're like, oh, I should probably take those points.
Yes.
Because somebody else will.
So then that means that I'm going to choose one of my white tiles, and I am going to choose.
You're totally finished. Yeah, you're totally finished with the action.
I am totally finished.
So go ahead and look at your white tiles. I already chose while Emily was taking her turn. I'm taking this military tile, which means to do this influence action, I do not need to have majority, which is really, really good. And then I get a brown tile. Now, all the technology tiles are interesting in that the theme of them is when you take one action, you can do another action. Once per game, you flip it over and then it's done. So if I ever invent the idea, or if I present an idea, I can immediately invent it.
Which is really cool. That one is the same one I took too, because those go really hand in hand, and usually you can set up for a pretty big turn that way.
I saw you take it, and I noticed there's only one left, and it's possible that Kronos will discard it, so I was like, I should take it before it goes away for good.
Yes.
There's another one I really like that I will talk about that lets you break the placement rule once per game. You can place in the same forum space as another one of your action columns, which is really good. Your turn is... Do you know which one you want?
I know which one I want. I want number 5.
Number 5.
And that one...
Oh, the extra movement one.
Yes, specifically so that way I can have it go to extra places. And again, some of these objectives are about where your guys are in the end. So
Yep.
I have a lot of them in this one corner of the world.
So what you're saying is this is not where you want them to be.
I want them to
long-term.
be able to go wherever
All
they
right.
need to go, which
All right.
they don't have that ability yet, but once I put it onto the board, they will. And now that it's kind of a place where I've built it up, it would only cost me 1 reputation, I think I might try to actually put something out onto the board.
Okay, so this is our first time bringing progress tiles into our civilization. So yeah, it's going to cost you 1 reputation.
1 reputation.
Now what's neat about this is that 1 reputation lets you place as many tiles as you want up to the area that you're in. So you can place, the area that you're in -1. So you can put 1 tile out currently.
Okay, so I only can put 1 out. I am probably going to want to place the white one because that gives me that ongoing ability.
Yeah, the victory point one can wait.
It
you don't,
can definitely
you're not
wait.
in a rush to get that one out.
So I'm going to put him out probably right here, so that way I get another guy for my economy.
Yep.
And he's going to cost me 1 of the artisans. I don't have any artisans.
Right.
But I do have 1 to the left of my board.
Right, so it's going to give you a discount.
It's going to give me that 1 discount.
And that is all kind of detailed out on your player board right there. So if like you ever forget like how that calculation is made, you can look and see. And the first tile you place doesn't have an additional cost, but you're going to pay 1 for every tile that's adjacent to it as well.
Yes. So now if I start placing things out on the other sides of
Yeah.
it, this is going to be more expensive. This is going to be even more expensive.
Yep.
So this first one I got away with pretty scot-free, but
You didn't pay anything for that.
I didn't pay anything, just the 1 influence. But, you know, I got something on the board, and now I have this ongoing power I can use.
I'm happy I got something on the board. Let's see. So I kind of want to share that idea out with the world. Which I could do if I take a sailing action. Like, I want to present that idea to the world before you get the chance to
Innovate
it. Because I don't want to give you the extra workers.
Yes.
So I want to get that out of here before. Now, I can't present the idea. I guess I could, but I don't want to. I don't want to just come up here and take that action. Because there's a better way, and that's the key part of the game, is looking for better ways. I'm going to take this action here, which is going to allow me to return a diplomat from a milestone and then take again the action that's printed on that milestone. So I can take this guy off of sailing. Now, I've removed my diplomat, but you'll notice this is marked red, which is my color, which means I still always have sailing.
Yes.
That can't be taken away from me.
Yes.
If I was to take a guy off of like copper smelting, I would lose that.
Right. But sailing is yours, so you're fine
Sailing
taking
is
it
mine,
back.
and then I get to take the action on sailing, which is to move. So I will take my 1 lone guy here. I will follow this path.
And when you move too, don't forget, you
I have
start
to
with
do the whole
also
move,
getting
so I get to take a white tile,
the white tile.
which is really good for me. I take the white tile, I move my guy, and then I can do the chain action there. And I do still have a chain because we're still within that space, so I can do that. I'll get my sage as well.
Nice.
And I will flip this, and you're already seeing the next person to do it could get 4
Yes.
points if they come to one of these.
Yes.
And I'm going to do this up here. So I'm going to share this idea with the world, and I'm going to give lighthouses to everyone.
Wow. So this is like your third thing you're doing, basically, with this one action.
Yeah, I'm chaining. Like, I love the chaining in this game feels so good.
Yes, yes.
And yeah, I love that. So I did that. I pulled the guy back. I did the sailing.
You chained it with that, and now you're actually sharing the invention.
We'll go through. So the person that presented the idea gets points, but he doesn't actually get points. So we don't track Kronos' points. We don't need to worry about beating him. But nobody gets those 3 points. I get this technology.
Nice.
For completing it. So that's another blue. So I've got two blues here. Nice. So that feels, 2 economy ones. This guy's going to come out onto the board.
Yep.
And then...
nobody innovated it, so they don't get an extra one there.
You know what? I'm not even going to cash in this white tile. Because I'm going to get this victory points tile, which is going to be for every set of blue and brown I have. I can't hold it right now, so I'm actually going to ditch this one and place it there.
Nice.
Now, I can play my tiles out for free. And I'm in era 3, so I can put 2 of them out.
Oh, wow.
So I'm gonna do that.
All right, what does that look like?
The one I really want to put out is this blue one. This is one that I can place my economy marker on and just get another blue or white tile. So that'll be really good.
And we start with 1 economy marker. There's ways to get 2 more throughout the game, right?
Yes.
But at least you have that one.
And I need those workers. So I'm gonna put it right up here. And again, it's going to normally cost me, my first tile is going to cost me 1 person. Did I spend my reputation yet? No, I don't have to spend any.
You don't have to spend any.
That's why I did that.
I know.
So my first tile would cost 1 worker, but I have blue, so it subtracts that, so I don't have to pay anything. Just like you did, I don't have to pay anything for that tile.
It's free.
So that tile is out and good, and I can place a second one. Now, I don't really know that I do want to get this brown one out, because I don't want to forget to do it.
Sure.
But the one that lets me take the influence action without having a majority is very good.
Yes, that's great.
And I'll tell you why that's good in a second. But I think I'm going to put this one out as well. And I want to get another one of these. Well, I don't really need another marker yet.
But later.
But later I will. I might get this tile that wants them all to be touching, so I need to prepare for that. I'm just going to put it down here.
Okay.
Now, I don't have any discount. I haven't built a white technology. I have 2 blues and a brown. So this is going to cost me 1 worker.
You're uncultured.
I'm very uncultured. So I take my worker, I just put it flat, and that pays the cost for it.
There you go.
And that's the end of my turn. So these tiles that are left are going to slide down. And now I can get more tiles and do that. So that is the end of my turn. Now, unfortunately, we didn't get to do the influence action. And the reason we didn't really do it is because you have to have area control of the area that you're in,
yes.
Which none of us really do. And that's why it's important that Kronos keeps spitting out these people onto the map too to kind of compete with you for area control. That tile I took always gives me area control. So I could do it next round. But
you still need to have the number of people that it requires.
Right. That's the thing is you have to have at least 2 people. And there's only 1 spot that has 2 people. And Emily's in it, but she already has claimed that area with her influence. You can't do it again. So we'll probably end up doing this one next round, but hopefully you have a pretty good idea of how all the other actions work and how the ebb and the flow of the game kind of works. But before we go, we do need to finish off Kronos' turn.
So Kronos is still going to move. He's going to go to actually Africa this time.
This is actually Africa, and for once, they have ideas.
They do have ideas. So he's going to get to actually invent the idea. So he's going to need to put a specialist out here.
Yep, so he'll take a specialist. And he'll flip the idea. Now here's where Kronos actually starts taking away our supply of tiles. He's going to take a blue tile. In order to determine which blue tile, you look at which number. So he's going to take this blue number 1 and claim it for his civilization. So there's only 1 of those left. Oh, and this is the one that lets you move anywhere when you move, right?
No.
Or no, puts an extra guy on the world map.
Oh, I want it.
I might try to take that, snake it out of you. You're going to be first again, so whatever, you can do
Well, and now that we have a bunch of ideas out too, like he's going to start just taking these.
Yeah,
and taking these.
See, now that he's still got a couple spaces where there's no ideas.
All right, leave him blank.
Leave him blank so that he can come. If this had already been full and he would have actually presented that idea out to the world too.
Yes.
So he does go through all those steps. So you see his turns are actually pretty easy. So anyway, that's the end of that. So we go to the next round. So Kronos is going to cross this round marker, which means we do all of this upkeep stuff. The first thing we do is check and see if the player order changed. If somebody had claimed that spot, they would be first player. I decided not to.
Thank
you. I wanted the short-term benefit. Then we would adjust our reputation. If you're too high, you drop. If you're too low, you go up. Where we are, no adjustment is required. Then you'll return all of your specialists to their upright spot, wherever they need to go.
Nice.
You'll take your pillars back. So our 2 seasonal pillars come back to us.
Yep.
The epoch pillar stays out, so you are starting the next round a little bit blocked. We'll also return, if we had used any of these economic tiles, by placing these markers, we'd get those back because they can be used once per era. And you're going to return your sages to any empty spot. It doesn't really matter. Whenever you do that, you're going to get a worker added to your scholars. Now, I can have 3 because I'm in era 3. You can have 2 because you're in era 2. So that actually worked out quite a bit. Then we're going to shift the milestone tiles. And this is going to kind of represent the changing of time as some of the older technologies become available as Chronos moves down the line. And you'll notice each one of these eras is marked with a letter, kind of lets you know what you're supposed to be on. So in this case, we're going to be taking the Cs that were not claimed by somebody and adding them to the public knowledge display. However, in a 2-player game, it's a little bit different. Chronos is going to claim one of those for himself.
Okay.
So he's going to claim mathematics. It's whichever one happens to be to the right. And he's going to put it out here where his copper smelting was. So he now has mathematics. Copper smelting is going to go out onto the board and become common knowledge. And you're going to get your person back as a...
Oh, no.
As a scholar.
Not a scholar, because I didn't have room for him either.
You can only have 2. Yeah, I'm going to be in a... I'm full too, so I'm about to be in a similar situation because now we're going to have iron come out. And iron is going to push down stone and bone tools, which means this guy would also come back as a scholar. And he can't. We really did not plan that out very well for ourselves. So this is how things are going to be standing for the next round. And then we're going to get the D milestones are going to be the ones that we can jump to. These are the future display are the Ds.
Yeah, and as you can see, so since I didn't take a milestone, I still have a B, which is right now common knowledge.
Yep.
So it's not really helpful to me to have it. I'm also behind the times.
Yeah, you're behind the times.
I'm literally behind Chronos.
Yep.
So next turn, I might be wanting to look at some things about, can I get a new milestone? Can I start getting ahead of them?
Yeah.
And then that would also help me be able to use more scholars.
Yeah, that would. That would as well. So the last thing we do in a 2-player game, we do something a little different. First, actually, sorry, we'll wipe out any cards that are remaining here from previous eras. So if there were any 2s, but there's not going to be because it started with 3. So we still have the 3s and 4s. So that's fine. Anything from a previous era would go away, including actually from our boards. So I guess our 2s here do go away. And we'll take turns replacing them. So you'll get to replace them with one of these available tiles.
Cool.
Or cards, whatever they're called.
I will take the printing press.
You would take the printing press. You know that I like printing presses. Also, look at all these. Okay, good. I don't want brown. You're taking all the brown ones. Maybe I should hate draft the brown one. Whatever. This requires a D. I don't think I'm going to get to that. I'm going to take eyeglasses. This one at least requires mathematics, which I could get. So let's plan ahead for the next round. So that's that. All right, yeah, we've done that. And now the special thing. When Chronos passes over one of these influence tokens, he gets to place it in that area. And he places it kind of face down because his don't really matter. Well, I like it when it lines up. But he doesn't get to use the bonus ever. Okay. However, he does just take up the 6-point action slot. So, sorry.
So now no more 6 points.
No more 6 points. And that's the end of the round. We'll jump right back to the start of the next era. And we'll do this a couple times. And then we'll get into scoring, which era 6 is just scoring. So you've got one era of pre-setup, one era of scoring, and 4 actual eras of play.
Yes.
All right, let's get on to round 2. We will be back after round 6, and we'll talk about how the game went. And we're done. That was an epic game, actually. Yes. Emily scored most of her points from a ton of points from inventing. Mm-hmm. She was way ahead of me. I got a ton of points in game, so I kind of built it in game.
So many points in game. I was very worried about it.
So many points in the in game that I still couldn't beat Emily. Honestly, congratulations.
But it was very close. It was very close. What was final score?
Final score was 85 to 78. And you know what's so funny? I had said during the video, early in this video, that push your luck element of like when to cash in those 2 points was so huge, and it was sitting there at 6 points, and I was like, Emily's gonna go flip over one more tile, and I'm gonna get those 8 points.
But no.
No, she took the 6 points, the action before I was, and that that made the difference. That I shouldn't have waited.
It was that close of a game. It was that close of a game.
But I will say, now that we've played this game, this was honestly my first 2-player experience with the game. Having that Chronobot really helped.
Really helps.
Him just moving around, pushing out cards, and I actually used him a couple times, positioned it in such a way that he would share the cards that I had contributed to, so that I could get some last-minute points.
Yeah,
that
it really mimics what a person would do, right?
Yeah.
Where you would do that in a higher player count game, because we played it 4-player, and you're doing the same thing where you're putting something out there like, hey Ryan, I put this out there.
I know
you want to share the idea for us?
Especially when somebody presents the idea and you have the technology, the milestone, ready to go to be the one to invent that idea. So there's a whole bunch of time, and you can kind of see where he's going to go. So there's a whole level of timing. Unfortunately, I didn't get all of my in-game cards.
I didn't get close to mine either. I did get one of mine, though. So I was going for those brown inventions the whole game. You got a bunch. And if I could get 4 of them, I got 10 points. So that was a good swing for me.
I did get all of my guys in the right spot for 6 points, but I did not get all of my speech. I only got 2 of my bubbles out.
Yes.
And then I saw this one. It wanted me to have 8. I thought the whole time I wasn't looking at it, I thought it wanted me to have 10 technologies, and I wasn't even close. It was only 8. I could have gotten this one.
You could have gotten there.
But I didn't. Instead, I worked on some victory point tiles that got me a ton of guys. But anyway, that was our game. I do want to say one thing, that just every time I play this game, the feeling that I walk away with it is that puzzle feels so good, especially towards the end of the game when you're looking at like your very last action and you're like, if only I could just do this one last thing, I'd get so many points. But I can't. But then you're like, oh, but I can do this. And by that time, like you had multiple chain tokens.
Yes.
You can use those technology tiles that are on your civilization board in a very satisfying way. You did one. I want to talk. That was crazy what you did up there.
Yeah, I did something where I used one so I could break an action and do something that I had or wouldn't have normally been able to do, and then I used that to chain it to invent it, and then I used that to chain it on here to actually share the idea. So I did a whole bunch.
Right. So you played the card, flipped the card, and shared the card in one action, and that again, that was. I mean, that was crazy turn.
Yes.
So the fact that you can do things like that, the fact that you can like, oh, if I just move this guy, now I can share. That just is so satisfying to me.
What I'll say too, again, with his other games, his games are very restrictive, right? Yeah. Where you can do only very certain things, and they're kind of like cyclical, where this leads to this, leads to this. This game, I feel like, gives a little bit more room than normal, just because of those chaining actions. There's so many ways where you would think like, okay, my worker can't go there, but there's like 50 other ways I could do it.
Right.
I just have to figure out which of the 50 ways actually works with the resources I have.
And I love that you, because I forget about the already completed technologies.
Yes.
Whenever you pull people back, because sometimes I'm like, I don't really want to pull people back, but that gives you access to any one of the chain actions on any technology you've already invented, and that can be huge. That came in handy a couple times throughout the game too. So I love that. I love that you're working backwards from like, yeah, I want to do this idea, but can I take multiple steps to get there, doing other actions along the way that help? And that is so.
And then by the end of the turn, you're like, I did this and this and this, and
right. And then you're like, and then I'm going to put all these. I had our board's like almost full, so we had a ton of stuff on our boards when we ended the game as well. So yeah, that was a great game at 2 players. Still felt great at 2. So lots of inventions. So thank you guys so much for watching this round 1. Hopefully you have a very good idea now of the game. It was crowdfunded earlier this year, so it should be coming out in retail or available for pre-order as well. We'll put all the links to that in the description. Please leave any comments. Join us on the Discord. We'd love to talk about this game and all the other games that come out. But until we see you again, make sure everyone has fun at the table.